Hello YouTube, welcome back to another game of Starcraft 2. This is going to be a little bit different. This is not actually from a tournament at all. It's actually a game from Grandmaster level, which I reached out to Neuro for. So I was watching one of his streams just out of curiosity. I was looking at some streams from high level players, and basically I liked the way he played. He was pretty cool, very chill guy, very interesting to listen to, and I reached out and I said, look, I'd love to get some replays off you. I'd cast you. Obviously I'm going to give some links to all of his streams and all that stuff, which will be in the description, by the way. If you're interested in, of course, watching some awesome Grandmaster level Zerg play, you will be able to watch it on the using the links below. So we're going to be having Neuro, who is playing as the Zerg at the top left hand side of Prion Terraces, and he's going to be against a Terran here called HTOMario, who I'm just going to call Mario just for simplicity. Now, I don't really know that much about Neuro. Unfortunately, I just have watched a few of his streams, and of course, I know that he's Grandmaster. He's very skilled and very, very calm as well. He takes losses very, very well when he does lose, and of course, very gracious in wins as well. So, was an absolute pleasure to watch it, and of course, I will continue to watch his streams every now and then. So, this is one of the games that he's decided to email me, and I will, of course, cast that. Now, I haven't pre-watched any of the games. So the next few series that or videos that you're going to see have not been pre-watched at all. They're all pretty much right off the top of what I'm doing, or right off the top of my head, just like that. Nothing's expected. I don't know if they're all wins. I don't know if there's any losses at all. But that's pretty much it. Now, just a bit of details about HTOMario, because I was able to find him on the Team Liquid wiki. He doesn't seem to be a pro. He's basically, he's Grandmaster as well, but he is basically sitting around the top 16, doesn't appear to have any big time contracts going on with anybody. He's currently with Team No Dice Academy. He's joined them in April of 2014, I believe, and his more recent achievements are actually from Heart of the Swarm, and apparently, according to the wiki, he's actually known for his mech style play. So just to note here, it does look like there's a double expansion coming out from Neuro. He actually took the hatchery here after the spawning pool went down, so he's basically going a little bit greedy on the engage. There is going to be an actual expansion coming out from Mario as well on the gold base, which is going to start coming into effect very, very quickly. Going to counter out a little bit of Neuro's resources, which is gonna of course help him deal with a big Zerg push later on. Now there we go, we do have the Reaper doing a little bit of damage, gonna get fended off by the Zerglings going off the creep. Now Zerglings, they never really want to leave the creep until they have the metabolic boost. Doesn't actually look like Neuro is quite interested in getting it just yet. And I've seen some of his tactics. He does a bit of analysis about how he plays his games as well, and the way he sees it is, if you're seeing a bunch of Reapers being produced against you, which is actually not the case here, just build a bunch of Queens, because that seems to be a lot more effective than throwing a ton of Zerglings into it. You just end up losing them all. So as you can see here, a 1-1-1 build out from Mario. So not going to see a huge bio push just yet, maybe a little bit later on once this second base comes up fully. Looks like transferring a few drones down to the gold base here, just to basically saturate that out as soon as possible, do as much damage as possible also. And let's see how this is going to continue. So a quick look at APM now, just to mention these are Grandmaster players, so of course they are up there, right up at the skill level of all the pros that you've been watching on my channel so far. So about 250 APM-ish sitting for Neuro, and he's dropping every now and then we have something about 100 to 200 for Mario. Now obviously during fights and all that, it's going to go up quite significantly. It's just at the moment they're just macroing up, so probably not a huge amount required. So there you go, about 500 APM there for a few moments. So it looks like everything is quite standard here for Mario. He's deciding to pretty much continue on with this 1-1-1 for now. Possibly going to throw down a few more barracks in just a few moments. Neuro sacrificing this Overlord just to get scouting information. Now he is aware that there's an SCV going down. Probably going to assume that there's a third expansion coming out here. But of course that is not a guaranteed. And looks like Neuro himself is actually going for his own fort base. Now once this base is up, Neuro is going to be at a huge advantage in terms of economy. He's not only going to have one extra base, but he's going to have one extra gold base. An extra gold base will pretty much neutralize any sort of economic advantage that Mario has by having mules in his base. Looks like just a bit of siege tank play. It's a little bit annoying when a tournament player does this a little bit early on, because there's nothing that huge from the Zerg player that can actually take this on. It's all, you know, Zerglings. Queens are slow. Queens are also not that huge on damage, so he can just poke around with this. As you can see here, just taking out a few units. Probably going to lift off the siege tank, move it on away. Taking out a few Zerglings here and there, so very well played there. And there's the Terran push now, so it's a Marine and siege tank push. Now just to note, it doesn't look like there's combat shields completed, and they're not on the way either. Now there we go, a few micro skills going down here, has actually taken out all of the Zerglings at this point. And just to note, Metabolic Boost is just about to complete for Neuro, and he does have a Baneling Nest on the way as well. Does have level 1 attack and Carapace here as well. His queens are very quickly getting taken out here, so this is a lot of aggression here onto Neuro. He does have his fort base already prepared, but doesn't actually have it saturated, so going to be a very difficult thing to fight off for him. Now, very nicely there, actually bringing the Zerglings in small groups up against the siege tank, so friendly fire here is actually helping Neuro with his fighting here. Now the queens, they never want to go off creep, but of course they have to in this case. No choice. Going to probably transfer these drones onto the outer expansion just to basically not lose too much mining time. Now these Zerglings just getting splattered everywhere. Absolutely nice. So at the moment Mario is actually in a quite commanding position. He's 3 bases against a 3 base Zerg. That's exactly what you want to be as a Terran. You don't want to be behind. You're okay to be at even, because that kind of means you're ahead. It looks like the one Liberator going to be moving into the base here. There's actually already a Spore Crawler on the way, I believe. Actually, no, never mind. That's a Spine Crawler. Not a Spine Crawler, a Spire. So, obviously, this is also going to get spotted at this point. Now, I do believe this is going to be able to take out these queens before... Oh! A Transfuse going out, preventing that queen from getting taken out. I think he would have just about been able to take him out if he actually focused down on the queens, on the same queen. But he did change the target. So, Spire is going to be coming down. Probably going to start throwing down a few missile turrets inside his bases as well. Or maybe just produce anti-air altogether. Now it does look like Neuro has decided to go for the, I think it's called centrifugal hooks if I'm not mistaken. Basically getting the Baneling speed is a better way of saying it. Getting level 1 Carapace for flying units also, that's against the Marines. Pretty much any sort of armor or shield upgrade is good against Terran Marines, because Terran Marines attack very fast with small damage, and that gets countered off very heavily by armor. So just pretty much macroing at the moment. Does look like he's going to have 6 gases at the moment, so possibly going to start doing some heavy heavy tech builds. And I wouldn't be surprised to see even more siege going down here, because as I mentioned in the start, Mario is actually pretty known for his mech play. So while mech doesn't quite exist in Legacy of the Void at the moment, it seems that just tanks are the meta in terms of mech, and nobody really builds stuff like a bunch of Hellions or Thors. Just doesn't seem to exist that much. Now just to note, the Mutalisks have already come out, so there is the initial flock already out. And there have been missile turrets put up, so it looks like he's using the Mutalisks right now just to attack with this main base. There's a nice surround here from pretty much every side. Is he going to be able to take out these siege tanks? It's going to be a very risky engage. In terms of army supply, Mario is way ahead. He's actually about 30 supply ahead, so would be very difficult to fight this, especially with all of this siege spread. Look at that. I mean, those siege tanks will be able to kill all of the units very quickly, and from my point of view, he does not need to engage this. Of course, let's see how it turns out. Now, just to note, there is a Zerg run by here. As you can see here, going to be taking out a bunch of SCVs. Doesn't actually appear to be focusing on these SCVs too much, or is he? It's actually not showing, that's why. So he has actually taken out about 11 SCVs in total, so I assume it's probably about 10 from here. Now these units still not moving out here. I think it's kind of a bit of a waste at this point to not make any better use of them. There we go, a stim going down here, probably going to try to, oh, actually getting the baneling hits here, taking out a small group of those, but probably not the best use of the actual banelings. Now the Mutaflock is actually starting to grow at this point. As you can see, he's also producing more and more. Does have level 1 or level 2 melee weapons and carapace as well, so is going to be continuing on with the ground tech. Now, I wonder, did he just cancel that? I think he just... No, actually they completed. Never mind, my mistake. So there you go, the Marines are now in here. Now the tanks are going to be in a great position here, so if the Zerglings decide to attack onto these Marines, the tanks are going to be able to clean them up very, very quickly. So as I said, spread here, absolutely beautiful from Mario. The Queens are also coming into the action. They're going to be taken out quite quickly, but from the back they're getting nuked by Mutalisks and Zerglings. And honestly, it doesn't look like Neuro is doing too bad here. He has managed to catch up on the supply, doing very well right there. Let's see if I can zoom out. Alright, shift. There we go. So very, very zoomed out right now. This is going to be the engage here. Honestly, I'm not feeling this push by Mario. I think that if this continues on, he will eventually lose out because he doesn't have a huge amount of siege tanks left. But he has actually managed to take out the hatchery here, so that's going to be quite important. Oh, the baneling hits are coming onto this Marine army. A nice split, but unfortunately not quite enough. There is a lot of Mutalisks in the air as well, supporting those banelings. There we go, taking out all of those medevacs. This could very potentially be dangerous for Mario. Look at the supply count. Currently, Neuro has exactly twice the supply of Mario. And that is going to be huge. If he attacks with his Mutalisks, and as you can see, he's also making more Mutalisks, he could very well end the game right here. I have to commend Neuro. This is actually quite an awesome game. Very, very well played here with that basically siege push in the front. He didn't give in to the pressure of just surrounding it and going all in. He waited for the right moment, used his banelings quite well on that huge Marine army out as well, and very, very decisively took it out, even though he did have a supply disadvantage. So there we go, bringing up those expansions again. This one is already complete, but this one is still in the making. So a quick look what's going on here. Probably going to do a bit of harassment with these Mutalisks. There we go, starting to take them out. It's one depot, two depots taken out. Now there's no supply block as of yet. There's quite a lot of depots for Mario. And there we go, just killing off a few of these units. These are pretty much reinforcing units, so gets a bunch of Marines, a medevac, and also a free siege tank. This is actually quite brilliant. Taking out the add-ons as well. Add-ons very, very important to take out. Not only did they prevent the double production of units, they also basically shut down that building if he tries to rebuild it. So these Mutalisks now finally getting pushed on away, so very, very good here for Mario. He wants to keep them away from his bases as much as possible. As you can see, they're just being pretty troublesome everywhere. They're destroying gas, they're destroying add-ons, are destroying units that are reinforcing, and it's very hard to re-macro up those add-ons simply because you need to waste production time without making units. When you have such a big Zerg army on your forefront, you really do not want to be building buildings. You want to make units. You want to... What the hell is going on there? Oh, it's because of the light. That's really cool, the fact that that light actually affects these. Okay, let's just zoom out just not to be a little bit too close. So it doesn't look like Mario is in any position to actually harass here with his own medevac drops. It does look like he has 4 Liberators here actually, just to kind of mention that. And he has level 3 attack for ground army as well. Doesn't have the shields just yet. Infestation pit just completed for Neuro also, just to mention that. So gonna potentially either see Ultras coming out or... yeah, it's actually going to be Ultras. I mean, he was researching the Carapace and ground weapons. So gonna potentially see level 3 coming out very shortly and then putting down an Ultras Cavern. Along with the Crackling update, which needs a hive as well. So very likely to see that very, very shortly. And just to note, there also has been an expansion here. As you can see, this is now complete. So getting that fully saturated very, very quickly. Gas also being thrown down. So gonna definitely be building those Ultras. They're very expensive to support. So the more gas you can basically produce, the better position you're in. It looks like the sensor tower has been remade. This kind of gives away the fact that there is actually a base here. Now he's seen it, but even if he didn't see, he would have probably known that there's most likely a base here. So the Zergling run by, not quite working. There's a lot of units here already. And let's see what he's going to do with this. Mutalisk Flock is coming out on the back here. How much damage is he going to do with these? Let's have a quick count of them. Now if I remember right, it was about 12 per row here. So 12, 18 in total Mutalisks. Definitely going to be enough to take out a missile turret. And taking out all of these add-ons, this is very well played here now. You might of course think that, okay, so I have this Mutalisk lost inside of his base, let's destroy the actual buildings. But to be honest, the time that it takes is not actually worth it. So there we go, doing the full-on split with the Mutalisks against these Liberators. I don't think it's a good idea to take them on at all. Liberators do a bunch of spread damage, just like Valkyries from Starcraft 1 Brood War, and they essentially naturally counter Mutalisks. I mean, if you had five of these Liberators against even 30 or 40 Mutalisks, you'd probably win, simply because, well, unless you have good spread with the Mutalisks, but if they're all clumped up, you would just two-shot them like that. It's crazy. Just a note, it does look like we have a Greater Spire on the way, so could potentially be seeing Broodlords very soon. And there we go, it does look like Mario is actually moving out right now. This is going to be a critical moment. Neuro doesn't have the tech he's trying to build up just yet. He has a superior army. Actually, correction, he does not have a superior army. So this is going to be a very tense moment for him. A lot of the actual medevacs getting taken out pretty much instantly here. Liberators also going to get killed very quickly. And there we go. The supply is quickly favoring. Actually, seeing a Thor in there as well. That's not something you see every day. And at the moment, it does look like the army supply is heavily starting to favor Neuro. Very well played here. A bunch of queens. They're going to be able to transfuse each other unless he just loses them to these Marines. There we go, the Zerglings surround, a bunch of Zerglings being produced. Look at that, there's 54 being made right now as well. So he's actually going to be able to take all of this out very quickly. And as you can see, any Liberator that shows up just automatically gets destroyed instantly. Now a second Thor coming out. As I said, this dude is very known for his mech play, but I honestly, currently I think that mech play is kind of dead. And I personally would love to see it come back. I mean, I loved mech play back in Wings of Liberty, and it gave so much variation in terms of build styles. Whereas now, it's just so... It seems to be only one path in every game. So you have the main units, so let's say Marines, not even Marauders these days, it's Marines, Siege Tanks, and Liberators. And then Zerg are pretty much Roach, Zergling, well, Queens are not really considered attacking units, I suppose. And then if you really get into the late game, you might see Lurkers, or you might see Broodlords and Ultralisks, which I suppose is kind of okay. That means that Zerg does have quite a wide range of units. The only thing that they kind of lack is Hydralisk. I think is not that common. It's mostly Lurkers. If you see Hydralisks, you're probably just going to see Lurkers coming out straight afterwards. And of course Protoss, just to mention as well, Stalkers, Immortals and Adepts is pretty much all you see from Protoss. You don't see Carriers, you don't see a huge amount of Phoenixes, you don't see a huge amount of Adepts, which is a bit unfortunate. There we go, the Broodlords. Oh my god, the amount of Broodlords he's making here! A total of 8 being produced right now. This is actually huge. Gonna lose one of these here actually, unfortunately, in range of that missile turret. And oh, he might actually force this cancel right now. I think that this would be a wise choice to basically take these Vikings out. Does he want to cancel? He's getting them lost very quickly. I'm not sure if this is great for him right now. He's doing so much damage with the Broodlords, but at the same time, he's losing these units so quickly. There is a Zergling here. Zerglings here, actually, as you can see, they did manage to run past. But this base is going to quickly get taken out by these Broodlords, eventually taking it out, even with all that repairing going on. But I don't know if it's worth it. Honestly, there were so many of those Broodlords destroyed here because the Corruptors were not cancelled, and all of these Vikings, of course, in position to do so much damage here. Now, in terms of supply, Neuro is still winning here in supply. And it's going to be very difficult to break Neuro right now. He has such good units in the air. The one thing I would say is that his air superiority is not great. There's Vikings on the field for Mario, and I think that if he makes more Vikings, he might actually be in a good position to fight off these Broodlords. The one thing I have to say though, Mario is actually quite heavily mined out. Let's have a quick look. Look at the amount of mules here. Because of these mules, he actually has so much income, but that's going to very, very quickly actually run out as soon as these mineral fields get mined out, and that will be very, very quick. So he's on one base compared to two mining bases for Neuro. Now, funny enough, they're actually normal bases, not gold bases, so it's going to be pretty equal once those mules die off. But at the same time, he probably has a bunch of energy that he can use up for more and more mules. And I think that if he doesn't expand out of this, he might actually end up losing this game. He could very easily lose this base with the Broodlords. So I think it's all really going to be depending on what these Broodlords do. If he's going to be able to shut down this base, it could very well end it right here. If not, then it could go on for a while longer. Supply counts are favoring Mario. He does have more and more mech units. I love this. This is awesome. Seeing a few air units as well. There you go. A bunch of Vikings on the field as well. Gonna start to do damage to those Broodlords. Very quickly actually taking them out. So that's pretty awesome. Oh, look at the parasitic bomb going down from the Vipers. So much damage. Oh, absolutely taking out those Vipers. And there we go. That was the response from Neuro. Very well played there. Using parasitic bomb to basically blow them the hell up out of the sky. Very well played. Now, just in terms of army supply, it does look like Neuro is still winning here on army supply, but he does have a bunch of these not firing units underneath. Now, about that, also, as you can see, these doors getting quickly cleaned up. I don't think they're that great versus Broodlords, simply because they're so slow at attacking. There you go. This is going to be another command center that gets destroyed. I think that he needs to take out the gold mining base right here. But he's going to basically be able to pretty much stomp everything that he has at the moment. I mean, with the units that Mario has right now, they're all anti-ground. I mean, these Hellbats cannot fire at air. Marauders cannot fire at air. He's trying to make Marines, but how many Marines are you going to need to take out so many Broodlords? That is a total of 12 Broodlords on the field right now. Does he have more somewhere else? Units tab? 12. No, there is still 12, so that's correct. And there's 15 Marines. Now, 15 Marines by no means will be able to take out that many Broodlords. Now, this drone being very peculiar here. I wonder where it's going. Oh, he's actually making spore crawlers here. Now, that's kind of a weird move because he's backing off with the rest of his units, but if the spore crawler goes off, that'll be so cool. Very interesting indeed. Now, just to note, he's bringing more and more of them here. I wonder what this is for. Potentially to snipe out medevacs, but at the same time, the medevacs are going to be staying well behind, since of course there is a bunch of Broodlords. There goes Zerglings. What are they going to do? I think that he needs to focus on the air right now, simply because Mario actually has quite a nice ground force already, but he doesn't have anything against anti-air. Or against air, I mean. So a quick look at the income tab. Neuro pulling very quickly ahead. He does have a gold base established here. So he's going to be so far ahead right now in such a commanding lead. But look at this massive army. He might still have a chance here. I mean, this is quite a significant Marine and Marauder army. So let's see what he does here. The Broodlord's going absolutely down to town on these guys. There's a total of 17 Broodlords. I've never seen so many Broodlords in a game yet. And look at all these Broodlings. Wow, there we go. GG has been called. And that is a victory for Neuro. Very well played here. Neuro, that was a very good replay. Thank you for sending this to me. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so pretty awesome game right there. Thank you, Neuro, for sending that. As I said, I will be including Neuro's details below, so there's going to be his stream as well as his Facebook and his YouTube channel. He does have a YouTube channel as well, of course, if you want to watch it. On his YouTube channel, he actually discusses some tactics, decisions, why he's doing them. He's basically doing the analytical part of the actual game. I do a very small bit of it. I'm doing kind of like a mixed shoutcast / analytical, but my knowledge is not as great as a Grandmaster player, of course. So I'll link that below. If you want to follow him, of course, you're very welcome to. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll be casting that very shortly. Good luck, take care, bye bye.